It was a cold and foggy morning when a young mechanic named Daniel arrived at the edge of a forgotten junkyard on the outskirts of a small town. He had heard rumors about something special hiding among the piles of crushed cars and rusted metal, something that most people had given up on long ago. Daniel was not like most people. He had spent his entire life around machines, learning their language, understanding their pain, and believing with all his heart that no machine was ever truly dead. As he walked through the rows of broken-down vehicles, stepping over shattered glass and twisted bumpers, his eyes stopped on something that made his breath catch in his throat. There it was, half buried under a torn tarp, covered from roof to tire in thick brown rust, dust caked into every crack and crevice, the windshield cracked like a spider web, the seats rotting from years of rain and heat. It was a Hummer H1, one of the most legendary and powerful trucks ever built by human hands, and it had been left here to die. Daniel walked slowly toward it, his boots crunching on the gravel, and he placed his hand gently on the hood. He could feel something beneath the rust and silence, a pulse, a memory of greatness, and he knew right then that he was going to bring this beast back to life. He bought it that same afternoon for almost nothing, had it towed to his workshop, and the real journey began. The first days were the hardest. The exterior of the Hummer was a disaster zone. Daniel started with a deep pressure wash, blasting away decades of mud, grime, and loose rust from every surface. The water ran black and brown as it hit the ground, carrying away years of neglect. Once the surface was clean enough, he could see the full extent of the damage. The orange rust had eaten into the body panels, the wheel arches were rotting from the inside out, and the undercarriage looked like it had been through a war, which, given the H1's military origins, was not entirely surprising. Daniel did not panic. He had seen worse. He began the tedious process of rust removal, grinding away the corroded metal, treating the affected areas with rust converter, and cutting out sections that were beyond saving. For every panel he touched, he worked with the patience of a surgeon, knowing that the foundation of any great restoration was the work no one ever sees. The interior was stripped completely. The rotting seats were removed and thrown away. The old carpet, the broken dashboard panels, the cracked door trims, all of it came out piece by piece until the bare metal shell of the cabin was exposed. Daniel cleaned every surface inside with specialized solutions, removing mold, grease, and years of accumulated filth. The sounds in the workshop during these early days were a symphony of scraping, sanding, brushing, and the occasional clank of a wrench on metal, sounds that for Daniel were as soothing as music. Then came the engine. When Daniel and his team pulled the massive 6.5-liter turbodiesel engine from the bay, it looked like something recovered from the bottom of a river. The parts were seized, the gaskets were destroyed, and several components had corroded beyond recognition. But Daniel had sourced original parts, new seals, fresh gaskets, and he began the slow and deliberate process of rebuilding the heart of this machine. Every bolt was torqued to specification, every seal replaced, every surface cleaned and inspected before reassembly. The engine rebuild alone took 2 full weeks, but when it was finally done and lowered back into the bay, it looked brand new, a gleaming mechanical masterpiece waiting to roar back to life. The bodywork phase was where the transformation became truly visible. The panels that had been saved were sanded down to bare metal and shaped back to their original contours with skilled hands and precision tools. New metal was welded where panels had been too far gone to save. The welds were ground smooth, the surfaces were filled where needed, and then came the blocking and priming, layer after layer of primer applied and sanded back until the surface was absolutely flawless. Daniel ran his hand along the hood and doors with his eyes closed, feeling for any imperfection, any ridge or low spot that would show under the final paint. He found a few and addressed each one with the same quiet determination that defined his entire approach to this build. The color chosen for the final paint was Arancio Orange, a bold and glorious shade that would transform the Hummer from a forgotten relic into a jaw-dropping presence on any road. The paint process was conducted in a sealed booth, the panels laid out carefully, the spray gun moving in slow and even passes, building up the color coat by coat until it glowed like a flame. The clear coat was applied on top, thick and even, and when the Hummer emerged from the booth, the shop fell completely silent for a moment. Every person who laid eyes on it felt something move inside their chest. The orange paint caught the light from every angle and threw it back into the room like a sunrise. The new interior came next. Fresh leather seats in a complementary color were fitted into the cabin. New carpet was cut and installed. The dashboard was rebuilt with new panels, new gauges, and clean switch gear. The door trims were lined with new material, and every detail was attended to with care. New rubber seals were fitted around every window and door to keep the elements out. The glass was replaced, the mirrors were polished and fitted, and the windows were cleaned until they were perfectly transparent. The wheels were rebuilt and fitted with fresh tires, and new brake components were installed all around. When the Hummer was finally lowered off the lift and sat on its own four wheels for the first time in the workshop, it looked like it had just rolled off the production line. Daniel started the engine. After a moment of silence, a deep and powerful rumble filled the workshop, steady and confident, like the growl of an animal that had just woken from a long sleep. The sound vibrated through the floor and the walls and the chests of everyone standing there. It was not just a machine running. It was a story of resurrection, a testament to the belief that with enough patience, skill, and love, nothing that once had greatness is ever truly beyond saving. Daniel drove the Hummer out of the workshop and into the morning light, its orange paint blazing against the blue sky, its massive frame moving with an effortless authority that turned every head on the street. The junkyard ghost was gone. In its place was a legend reborn, carrying within it every hour of struggle, every sanded panel, every replaced bolt, every whispered promise made by a man who refused to give up. If you love this incredible restoration journey and want to see more amazing stories of machines brought back to life, please like, share, and subscribe to the CarPoint and History channel. Your support means everything and helps us continue bringing these extraordinary transformations to you. Hit that subscribe button and join the family. We have so many more incredible stories waiting for you.